This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news and intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversations. 96.9 FM.
Good morning and welcome back to Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, your station for fresh news, smart talk all a day. It is 11 a.m. It is Tuesday, the 25th of November, 2025, and you are tuned into Guardian Radio AM with C.A. Newry. This is Aaron Green sitting in for Mr. Newry today. We are talking by-election results in this hour. Before we get there, I know this is Guardian Radio AM, but I, Aaron Green, I'm running a T-shirt magazine recycling program. Please reach out to me. You can reach out to me on Facebook or WhatsApp if you got some magazines or T-shirts to donate, and I will organize a pickup, or we could organize a meet-up, pickup, drop-off spot. Okay, today, the 25th of November, marks the beginning, 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. Today, the 25th, is International Day to Eliminate Violence Against Women and Girls. And tomorrow, the 26th of November, marks the anniversary of women's suffrage in the Bahamas. The 26th also sort of marks the beginning of National Women's Week, when we celebrate the suffrage movement, the contributions of women in national development, and the first time that women voted in the Bahamas. Tomorrow night, via Zoom, Equality Bahamas is hosting a conversation, Reclaiming Memory, with the Bahamas National Reparations Committee. Reclaiming Memory, Dr. Nyambi Hall Campbell Dean will be one of the speakers, or the main speaker actually, for that event. Tomorrow we go through a little history, did you know, and historical notes about the week and the day. All right, so it is a by-election time. I want to start the show. I don't know if you guys tuned into the Guardian Radio by-election coverage last night. I shared a quote, like in jest, very glib and very loosely, a quote from Jack Thompson. I want to read the proper quote, full and correct at this moment. The quote comes from a headline, "We're still working out cost of Jubilee celebrations," Nassau Tribune, 17th of August, 2023. And what Mr. Thompson actually said was, quote, "My pencil is in figures right now, and I'm on the computer even as we speak," close quotes. That's as I was tabulating the final count at the end of the broadcast. But I wanted to make sure that I quote Mr. Jack Thompson, Permanent Secretary, properly, correctly, because he deserves that respect. All right, I see there's a caller on the line. Good morning, caller.
Yes, sir. Good morning, Ms. Green.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm kind of upset, man. You talk about reparation, and I would like to know when we have some reparation on our democracy. You know what I mean? When we have constituencies at 7,000 people voters and some at 1,200. I mean, that ain't no democracy, man. And ain't no one talking about it. What's going on there, man?
You right.
Hold on. That's foolishness. And people call themselves educated. What kind of education? What kind of school they went to?
Okay, so I feel you. I'm very interested in this.
That's foolishness, man.
Hold on, let me respond. Okay, watch this. So, I don't think that people are aware and then disregarding it as an important issue, right? Hold on, pause. Here's what I'm looking at the landscape right now, right? It is this, like, that conversation that you're talking about is a structured conversation that in other jurisdictions would be organized and led by an NGO or civil society organization.
Man, I don't trust NGOs. I don't trust civil society.
Okay, hold on. I feel you. What other grouping can do it? Are we going to rely on the political parties to do it?
The fourth estate. That's the voice of the people. The fourth estate.
So the media. Hold on, the media and the journalists, right?
Right. They got to get real, man.
The media and the journalists. Okay. So I'm going to give you a snapshot of the local landscape right now. There are not enough journalists, reporters, and certainly not enough investigative journalists to provide the type of coverage that you're looking for. I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm not saying that we shouldn't expect it.
That mean we don't have democracy. That's not democracy.
I'm not disagreeing with you. The people The people have to commit to working the mechanisms necessary to provide the type of governance that they want.
And you talk about reparation. Our government needs to do some land reparation, land distribution in this country. They don't need nobody in the UK to do land distribution in this country.
But then you missing. Okay, Uncle, here's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that the points that you're making are not sound. I'm saying that you're coming at them in a way that is ineffective. Hold on, pause just for a second. You're saying that for Britain to be involved in the distribution or the dissemination or anything to do with land in the Bahamas,
they don't need to.
Of course they need to, because of the way of what exists. We're talking about two separate things. We're talking about the ideals that are in our heads versus what exists right now. As it stands right now, what you think Crown land means? It's land that belongs to the Crown.
We say we're independent.
No, we don't. Okay, Uncle, now you're upsetting me. Now you're upsetting me, and I can tell you why you're upsetting me. Because you just using words. Yes, we say we're independent, but you need me to read the Constitution for you. They swear allegiance to the Crown and the heirs of the Crown. Are we really independent? Right? Let's look at it. If it is called Crown land, it's because ultimately the Crown decides what happens to it. And you could say anything you want, but there are provisions in law that land can be acquired. It don't matter if you're up to date on your payments, if you own it outright. There's very little. It's, I think, only commonage. Commonage may be the only land that may not be able to be acquired by the government. And then there's property tax, which says that you could pay all the fees associated with purchasing the land and call it yours. But then if you don't pay the tax on it to the government, they still could take it. Right? And so the system itself, is not like the rules are being breached. The rules need to be changed. Caller, I'm sorry, I missed you. I needed to say that out loud. People are talking about these matters, but the approach requires structure, right? And the structure needs to be created not just by one organization, and it needs to be operated not just by one organization. Ah, boy. Okay, let's go to the phone line. Good morning, caller.
Hey, morning, right? Hey, question, right? It was a very low voters turnout, right?
Yeah.
What do you think the government could do to increase the voter percentages in the Bahamas? Because, man, out of 7,000 people, only but 4,000 people vote.
Okay.
Like the voting decreasing every year.
All right, I got you. What can the government, and you speaking specifically to what the government can do?
Yeah, look like they're going to have to give incentives for people to vote.
No, that's not true. I rebuke that, but I'm making the point. You want to know?
That's what we getting at this point.
No, not at all. But I got your question. What can the government do to drive an increase in voter turnout, right? Okay. I got to go to the next caller, and I got to answer your question in a moment. Let's go to the next caller. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Aaron Green.
How you do?
I'm always doing fine listening to your show. I want to just put a plug in for December the 3rd is Disabled International Day.
All right. So, what day of the week is that?
December the 3rd. I think that might be a Wednesday on my calendar.
It's a weekday?
Pardon me? It's a weekday?
Yes, it's a weekday.
Yeah, Wednesday. I think it's a Wednesday.
All right. Well, then let's look to book in a show.
Right. No, I want to put that here, but I ain't coming to talk about that.
Listen, I'm charging you with gathering your colleagues to put together a show for the week of.
Sure, no problem.
All right.
I have no problem with that. But I also want to congratulate Darren Bickstock for his victory and the election. And I hope he would make sure those sidewalks be accessible for disabled.
Mm-hmm.
Like he said, he got a lot of work to do, right?
Did he hold on? Did he say hold on? Did he say that? And
no, I'm saying that.
No, here's what I'm saying. Why are we congratulating Pickstock if Davis gave the victory speech last night?
I don't know. It's not just what you say. Why we graduate?
Why are you congratulating Pickstock if Davis gave the victory speech?
Well, I want to do my funky own personal one because I have watched him and politically in the past in the Senate, and I think he always performed. He always keep folks with disability in mind.
I got you. And
so that's from my advocacy. I congratulate him.
All right. Thank you.
So I just want to do that. And you're talking about the coverage of the by-election, right?
Yeah, the Guardian coverage last night on 96 and Star.
I want to ask you a question as me and you being an advocate for rights, human rights.
Mm-hmm.
Do you appreciate a guideline, or do you don't appreciate the liberty? Or
I mean, the
liberty.
The relaxation.
From your perspective.
The relaxation of the guidelines.
Whatever. Yeah.
To allow limited, but still with restriction coverage. Yeah. I thought it's a good thing. I think.
Well, when you look at now, be careful you answer that now, but I did my homework. When you look at other countries' relaxation, and I all compare to the United States and UK, that's what I grew up on. That's the media. That's the Florida state I grew up on. You are totally free.
But you don't live there. You don't live there. You live with people who's run red light and stop sign and then.
Yeah, but I want my Florida state to go there.
Well, the fourth estate has to grow there. They can't They just can't teleport there. There are steps that must be taken to grow your media to the capacity, to grow your state mechanisms to the capacity that you can permit without prejudicing or jeopardizing the integrity of the election.
But guess what? I do that on social media.
Are you
doing that on social media?
You're just one person. You're just one person.
No, that's I don't mean like, come on, Aaron. I talk about social media doing it all the time.
What you mean? This social media? What you telling me that local social media is moderating itself consistently?
Social media have more liberty and freedom.
You know that
That
the
are
act,
correct.
hold on, do you know that the IRCA rules also pertain to internet broadcast?
But
Part one, so if you...
not a gospel on social media.
No,
See?
Stop. Sorry, I didn't mean to move away from the mic. Pumpkin Eater, how dare you? I telling you something, right? You raised it. You asked me how I felt about IRCA relaxing the rules and regulations around broadcast, right? Allowing media houses to broadcast shows about the election by election, but with still some restrictions about what can be discussed in the public airwaves. And I am telling you that a portion of the regulations that govern this space also govern the broadcasting by media houses on the internet. Right? There are also rules that govern the internet. It is not a free for all. And that's one of the reasons why we have not grown, right? Or this is an example of how we have not grown yet to the place where we can fully relax our laws or match the standards in Britain, the UK, or the US. Because I'm telling you there are rules to govern the internet and you're telling me they're not, as opposed to you pausing and checking first. We have to grow, not just the media space, the fourth estate, but also state mechanisms and also civil society and also public awareness and consciousness, so that in our pursuit of the enjoyment of the right to freedom of expression, because that's what you have in the Bahamas, the right to freedom of expression, that you are not jeopardizing the integrity of the electoral process. All right, so here we go. Here's some text. It says, Aaron, could we analyze the complaints made about voters not being able to park? Some people actually parking on the sidewalk and others having to walk far. In civilized societies, we call that voter suppression. Could that have contributed to low voter turnout? What's your thought on this? Well, okay. Roadblocks, obstructed traffic, jam up roads, the fear that I leave work to go and vote, I get caught up and can't get back to work on time. These are issues that may prevent someone from going to vote. A. B. It doesn't matter if it's an election or not. Why are your cars parked on the sidewalk? And what do you mean that there was an election and there was police presence and people were still allowed to park their cars on the sidewalk where people have to walk to go and vote? Yeah, so you're right. That in and of itself is always a problem. And yes, secondarily, it could be raised as a challenge. Right now, you may have to prove that there was an intentional plan to allow it to happen to frustrate voters. But if we're concerned about voter turnout, these are the things we have to concern ourselves with. Ease of voting. And stop saying things like, if you cared enough, you would take the time out. You know, some employers don't care enough for by-election. Another text says, where's Garth? Y'all agreed last night he would be on the show. I waiting to see Garth now, Dexter? I waiting to see Garth now. Not so we could row, but just so we could have fun. Here we go. Here's another text. Golden Isles reward a man they don't even know after crying about being neglected by the same government for 4 years. Wow. Brian Brown lives in the constituency and knows their struggles. Bahamians really don't make an ounce of sense at times. The COI need to pack up and get lost. They're working to keep the PLP in power by being spoilers. Okay, so many delicious things to address in this text. Let's go to the first one when you say Golden Isles rewarded a man they don't even know. Okay. I think in by-elections in particular, but in this political culture generally, it's often not about the man and about the party machinery that the man must rely on to fulfill the constituency's agenda. And so that's one part of it. That you're never ever, in this current political culture and disposition, you're never ever just voting for a man unless they're an independent, and in that case, you're voting against the party, right? Bang. The second thing is this. Is it possible that voters saw the landscape and said to themselves, while we may be frustrated and dissatisfied with the party or Vaughn Miller's representation, it is possible that Pickstock as a candidate is better than Miller, to navigate the internal workings of the party and could position the constituency advantageously within the party's machinery in a way that Vaughn Miller was unable to, and in a way that a representative that's not a part of the governing administration cannot do, right? Let's stop just saying that voters are ignorant, they're stupid, or they're silly, right? Let us first try to find the motivation for their decision making. Brian Brown lives in the constituency and knows their struggles. That doesn't mean that Brian Brown has the capacity to devise or operate or sustain effective solutions to those problems. Now, to perhaps the juiciest part about this text, COI need to pack up and get lost. They're working to keep the PLP in power by being spoilers. Here's the question. Would the COI be spoilers if it were an FNM administration and a PLP opposition, right? Is the critique sound, but it goes off in the nuancing? What I mean is the texter correct that the third party becomes a spoiler for the incumbent, for the governing administration, and makes it more likely for them to get in? Or is the expectation that the third party will be a spoiler and will take votes from the governing party, right? I don't know if it is that they're working to keep the PLP in, or that the PLP, being the governing administration, benefits from their presence in the landscape. Let's go to the phone line. Good morning, caller.
Morning.
Good morning.
Morning, Mr. Aaron Grant.
How you doing?
It's nice talking to you. Mr. Grant,
Yes, sir.
maybe 2 points. I think that by-election was an indictment on the entire country, to say off the top. These people aren't getting good representation because most of the registered voters didn't vote. And we as a country need to look at that as a simple by-election, but something to say it's an indictment on us because we don't want to represent ourselves to move further.
Hey.
That's my point.
Okay. Listen, you got to turn your radio down for me. All right.
Yeah.
You had a second point?
The second point, the fact that in a democracy, our vote basically has no value if registered voters stay behind and let things be dictated to them. I think our vote should be of value and be almost to the point whereby if you are registered, that means you are responsible for a vote. That's my second point.
Okay. All right. What I've taken from your contribution is that we, the people, right, are we are abdicating our responsibility to participate in politics, and the indictment is on us for low voter turnout?
Yes.
All right, I got you. Thank you very much, Colin. That leads me to a question that I said I would answer. What can the government do to drive voter turnout? My producer just said we're going to get to that answer on the other side of this break, but what I want to emphasize is what the caller emphasized. What can the government do? And that's where we're going to start, and with the text line. You guys stay tuned. Guardian Radio AM with C.A. Newry. We'll be right back.
They'll call you in for your x-ray shortly.
That's why they call it a waiting room. You won't have that problem at Fourth Terrace Diagnostic Center or Imaging at Grosvenor. We never schedule multiple appointments, so you'll be in and out in no time. And if your initial screening reveals a concern, our radiologist can conduct an alternative screening right then and there. Call 328-8157 to schedule an appointment at Fourth Terrace Diagnostic Center or Imaging at Grosvenor today.
Beulah, gal, can you believe this? We are now the patrol queens of the neighborhood.
We now large and in charge, so we need to check out what's going on in everybody's yard. What about that gun that we know that Junior and his homeboys just ran out? Can we report that too?
Of course we can.
But we could be in deep trouble if they find out.
We need to report what we see, Beulah. When you call Crime Stoppers, they just answer your call in Miami.
So then we can report everything? Guns, where they hiding the drugs, who shoot who part of which gang, or who disturbing the peace with the loud music and the motorcycles.
Then our neighborhood will be the best in the Bahamas, and everybody gonna want to come live here. And then our house price will go up, gal.
So what we waiting on? What's the number?
If you see something, say something. Let us all pitch in and stop the crime before it's your time. Call 328-8477 from Nassau or 242-300-8477 from the Family Islands. Or text us through the Crack Crime Bahamas app. Stop the crime before it's your time.
Are you searching for something new? Something exciting? Your dream job in paradise? Well, look no further. Royal Beach Club Paradise Island is hiring. Join a dynamic group of passionate hospitality professionals, craft unforgettable moments, and thrive in a vibrant, welcoming atmosphere. Play your part in shaping the future of our team while growing your own career every day. Bring your energy, your passion, and your creativity to a workplace that's as dynamic and fun as you are. At Royal Beach Club Paradise Island, the opportunities don't just exist. They're limitless. So are you ready to find your perfect fit? Visit Royal Beach Club at paradiseisland.com/career today and step into a world of exciting possibilities.
Love the show? Want to give your support? Become a sponsor today. Call 302-2300 for our rates and packages. That's 302-2300. Become a sponsor on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news and intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversations. 96.9 FM.
Welcome back to Guardian Radio AM with C.A. Newry. Okay, I know I have the question, what can the government do to drive voter turnout? But we've got two callers. We got some callers on the board. Let's go to the first caller, producer. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Ms. Green.
Good morning.
Yeah, you get people don't vote for many reasons.
Mm-hmm.
When people look at who's leading the party, who's leading the party,
Mm-hmm.
they say, no, well, I'm not going to vote for him or her. And then you get like people like Jehovah's Witness, they don't vote.
Yeah.
And you get it's my religion, and that my faith, I believe that I shouldn't vote,
Mm-hmm.
or I don't want to vote because of my faith. Then I just
don't vote.
Wouldn't vote.
Yeah.
And it's simple as that. It's not no gun put to your head telling you got to vote or you must win. Vote. You
Mm-hmm.
understand me?
I got you. No, I understand. absolutely. And it leads to the question of, like, why is voting so important? Is that the only way that I can participate in political life or in national development or in constituency development?
Well, you see, sometimes people vote to change a government.
Mm-hmm.
But when you look at the head of some of these parties, you will say, something, why should I vote for Ms. Green? Ms. Green's the head of this party.
Yeah.
So why should I vote for John? John's the head of this party. And they feel like John is corrupt. They feel like Ms. Green is corrupt.
Mm-hmm.
So it don't give them a choice. So they might
sit out.
I'll just don't vote.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you so kindly.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you for sharing. I think that a lot of people feel that way. Good morning, caller.
Hey, morning, Ms. Green.
Morning,
I have an idea, right, how the government could increase the voters' turnout, right?
Yeah.
But you have to promise me you can get mad.
Okay.
Okay. If the government let the citizens, right, give them 2 months free light bill in July and August, I guarantee you'll have 98% voter turnout.
Hey, you telling me I could get 2 months electricity free for Purple Thumb?
July and August.
And I could do anything in the booth just once I come out with the purple ink.
Anything.
Yeah, I'm mad. Somebody mad, but it ain't me. Thank you. Somebody could be mad, but it ain't me. I ain't mad at all. I think it's important to figure out how to drive political participation without suggesting that I must be allegiant to a political party. Right? Like that, me not wearing your shirt, not being a member doesn't mean I won't vote for you. But if you tell me I must wear your shirt, or you don't even consider me a value, you don't consider my vote a value if I don't show public support, that drives people away. I see we got the callers. Let's bring the callers in when you're ready, producer. All right. So what can the government do to drive voter turnout? Here's what the government can do. The Parliamentary Registration Department needs a new unit, and the job of that unit is to promote political participation in many ways, but primarily the voting process, right? An essentially independent government unit, right? It is not going to be from the OPM, right? They can partner with the University of the Bahamas to run continuous programming. You see, the next thing is you don't just wait for election time. You run seminars, public discussions, town hall meetings, continuously throughout the 5-year term, just talking about political participation devoid of party politics, right? So that's the first thing. The second thing is that the government, we need to create legislation, things like political parties must be registered in the country, right? You must be registered as an organization. You must have a constitution and articles of association and all of the paperwork and a degree of what the business of your party is public. Not all, because I know if y'all could have kept what y'all said to Glennis Hannah Martin on that convention floor a secret, you would have, right? So not everything has to be out in the open. But those are some of the ways. Producer, let's go to the phone line. Good morning, caller.
Good day, Aaron. How are you doing, Mom?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. Good. You guys did an awesome job last night. I love seeing how you guys brought all the show hosts together to give us the by-election commentary. That was awesome.
Thank you. I enjoyed it.
In terms of voter empathy, and I owe Dwight an apology. I told Dwight, I said, Dwight, this looked like a high voter turnout. I don't know where all that traffic and all them people come from, and that still we only end up with maybe about 50-something% of the voting turnout.
I think they say 49%.
It's 49% exactly.
Yeah.
But I had a conversation with someone last night, and I told them I believe that this recurring register that we have could possibly pose a problem. And the reason for that is because when persons in the years prior to this recurring register, we had higher voter turnout. And I'm of the opinion that that behavior of having to go and register for an election was like a practice run in muscle memory in terms of say of getting us prepared and ready to vote. Once you go and get your voter's card and what's not, but you armed and you ready. But when you've had it all these years, you ain't need to replace it, and it's been watered down seemingly to just a national ID. It's easy to say, man, I'm interested. I ain't got to go register or nothing like that.
But look here, a
I
mouthful.
feel like,
go on. I say you say a mouthful. Go on.
So I just feel like we need to really, in a national way, find some avenues. And then I think a part of it, too, in terms of voter turnout or empathy, is I believe that the campaigning, generally, if we're going to change the turnout of voters, it's going to have to be more than just rhetoric. I've long said to my party and others that campaigning now needs to be a form of outreach, because during your campaigning experience, people have real issues. People don't want to hear rhetoric about PLP. People don't want to hear you run on about the F&M. People want to know when you're at their door, what are you going to do for me right now?
And what's practical? What can you practically do? What can
right
you
now,
realistically achieve? Yeah.
Aaron, the reality of it is when I got you to my door, this is all I'm promised. When I say promised, this is all I'm guaranteed. When you leave from my door, what am I guaranteed unless you do something for me before it's time for me to vote for you? I'll give you a clear example. Last night, I saw about 5 or 6 little young boys. They had to been between the age of 12, no more than 15, 16. They were by a particular party's headquarters, just hanging out and playing with their game, just fascinated with being boys. And I was like, oh, man, it's so good and healthy to see this. And so I decided at one point to compliment the young boys them on, their behavior. They could have been running around making balls. They could have been doing all manner of things. But to see them, they're playing as boys, I just wanted to compliment. You know these little boys, I'm telling you? Oh, I can hear what you, man. You need to put $5 in each one of our pocket right now.
Look here, let me go.
Woo! Lost the words, but this is the next generation.
The political culture. No, listen, I got another caller on the line, but what you talked about, how the act of going to register to renew your voter's card, right? That jump-started the culture, the thinking, the preparation, right? But you know what? The government don't need to do that. Civil society organizations can host mock voter drives all the time, and they do. And see, now people are saying, why can't we be as advanced as the global north and developed countries? That's what they do in the developed countries, right? So your point is correct. You're right on the button. How do we identify what drives people to vote, to get to the booths? What's the culture? What's the behavior? What's the language? Has it disappeared? How do we replicate that in new ways? Absolutely, caller. That's a sound point. Let's go to the next caller. Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am. How are you?
I am good, thank you. How are you?
Well, I'm not so good because I'm very disappointed in the voters' turnout at that by-election yesterday.
Yes, ma'am.
The Bahamian people look like they're losing all hopes in voting, and that's very bad for this country. Because we have a country to save, We have all these young people. We need to be training them to get involved in their constituencies, to make sure they go to constituency meetings so they can meet and know who representing them, and they can see for themselves whether the person is worthy to be voted for or not. We need to make a sound decision that whenever we join these political parties, that we keep their feet to the fire, those in top authorities, that we make sure if the party has a constitution, that the constitution is carried out and not twist or rewrite to suit their purposes. We need serious people with integrity, men and women, to get forward in this country for elections. And Bahamian people, in the name of Jesus, you living in the Bahamas, you should know the good, the bad, and the ugly. And please, on election day, in this upcoming general election, from as of today, look around and see who's working in these constituencies and give them a chance. Don't worry about the political parties. Vote for the person that is going to do the good job. Because after all, we all have to live here. And after elections is over, whether you voted for them or not, it is their obligation to serve you as a Bahamian. So the country is going down the drain because the people have no more faith and trust in these politicians, and they need to get their act right. I'm sorry to see it, but I hope they would pray to Jesus to be straight with these people and have integrity and honesty. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. We're going to a break. You stay tuned. Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM. We'll be right back.
Join the Bahamas Heart Association for its inaugural golf tournament, proudly presented by Visa and Fidelity Bank on Sunday, November 30th at the spectacular Royal Blue Golf Club. Every swing brings hope and healing to young hearts. Gather your team and play with purpose or make a donation. Tee off for tiny hearts because every heartbeat deserves a chance. For more details, contact the Surfing the Sassoon Heart Foundation at sassoonheartfoundation.org.
1 in every 4 Bahamians face some level of food insecurity. AML Foods remains committed to helping, and this year, through our Feed 5,000 program, will donate $50,000 to provide holiday meals for families in need. But we need your help. From November 3rd to December 17th, show your support and donate at the register at Solomon's, Cost Right, Fresh Markets, Eleuthera Markets, Exuma Markets, or Domino's Pizza in New Providence, Grand Bahama, or Exuma. Together, let's put an end to hunger.
This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news and intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversations. 96.9 FM.
Good morning, and welcome back. Welcome back to Guardian Radio AM with C.A. Newry. This is Aaron Green sitting at the mic today. Caller, you waited all that time and then you gave up. I am so sorry. We got to pay the bills. We have to pay the bills, but that means we can get to the text line. Here we go. The FNM had who might be its most active aspirant in that race. He is a 2-time candidate and has maintained an open office for 11 years. Atop all this, he resides in the constituency and touted that as an advantage. Despite that, he lost to someone who doesn't reside in the constituency, campaigned for less than 45 days, and is a first-time candidate for national office. A poor showing by the FNM. Okay, so was it a poor showing at what point? A poor showing at what point? Is it like at the election results or the journey to the election results? I'm going to say it right now. The way that parties campaign, like if I were a candidate in the party, I would be having serious talks with my party leadership about the scope of my authority in terms of setting up my campaign. Because the way that candidates campaign are yielding the results that they're yielding. I don't know. Also, this is not the first or the second or the fourth time that I've seen commentary that suggests that Pickstock is a novice. Like the FNM get beat by a child who just get on the scene. The man's a senator, you know. The man's a senator. Now, no, he didn't run for national office. He's not an elected official. He didn't campaign, but he's a senator. And so I say that for many reasons. He's not a neophyte, and he will not be critiqued like he is a novice. There we go. Greetings, Aaron. I concur with the sentiments of that previous caller. If less than 50% of voters voted, how could we say that this is democracy? We need to advocate for the change of our law to reflect a mandatory 60 or 65% participation or be subjected to do-over. The real question here is, why did a majority of people refuse to participate in this process? Is it about respect, disdain, or disillusionment? Okay, so I have not examined many models or in a long time that have these sort of mandatory quotas, right? I don't like it though, that there must be a 60 to 65% voter turnout for the results to be received as valid. No. I mean, we could explore it, but right now the answer is no. Watch this. In some instances, it may be to the benefit of a political party to have a low voter turnout, right? We have to encourage people to participate. One of the ways we can encourage people to participate is to acknowledge that you can participate in the electoral process without being a member of a party or a loyal supporter of a party, right? I think it is the prevailing political culture that drives people away. And I think a lot of it is supporter culture and behavior that drives people away from coming out to vote. Right? I am impressed by the candidate who says, look, obviously I am here looking for your support in this election, but what is more important to the country is that people come out and vote. So my first job is to encourage you to come out and vote. And then my second job is to encourage you to vote for me. Right? I'm not sure if that's what's been happening over successive terms. Another text, Aaron, talking about parking on the sidewalk, no one passes Goldwyn and see all those cars parked on the median and right in front of the PM's office. Let me tell you something. That is the most amazing foolishness I've ever seen, because obviously it is against the law to park your car on the median, and obviously you're creating a major traffic hazard in that area by doing that. And obviously if I told my employees they should just park their car in the Prime Minister parking lot, I would get slaps from a community who realized that I lost my head. Right? I am with you, Texter. I am with you. We're making a mockery out of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Good morning, Aaron and Bahamas. While it would be in the interest of political parties to encourage voters to participate in voting, I see it as being more incumbent upon each individual to be concerned enough to go out and cast their vote, and the parties and individuals of their choice, saving for circumstances where folks sincerely and truly need assistance in getting to the particular voting stations. There's obviously, you're not wrong, it's obviously a person must be motivated to vote. They must want to vote. Producer, let's go to the phone line quickly. Good morning, caller.
Hey, Aaron, you have a larger voter turnout. Tell them bring some food to the table. A food night. You will see the harvest beaming water in that day.
All right, but the food would have to be provided by an independent government agency.
Yes.
Right? Because you cannot then say, oh, look, the FNMs, they're feeding the people to encourage them to vote for them.
Mind you, that's my humor now.
One thing our government understands, when you go to a government meeting, they have refreshments. You know why? Because this could have been your lunch hour. This could have been when you were going to get food. We know that your brain needs to be functioning. You need to have the nutrients you need. You need to be fed. Your blood sugar needs to be up if I want you to participate in this national exercise. So yeah, maybe that it could be a barrier for some people. It may not be a barrier, but it may be the thing that removes another barrier for some people. Let's prep the caller, producer. Here's a text. I hope the FNM doesn't bring Papa back on a rally stage to ever talk for them again. He is bad luck for them. I don't think he is bad luck for them, But we could talk about that after this caller. Good morning, caller.
Yeah, good morning, Aaron. Firstly, Aaron, let me congratulate you last night. Your analysis as to what would have gone wrong last night was spot on. I mean, you did a fantastic job, and I was hoping that you would have maintained your position when you were talking about, you made a point that the candidate who would have lost needed to do an analysis, and you got interrupted, but I thought that you would have maintained that some more, but you were spot on in a depth to that regard. But, Aaron, I believe the time has come. We saw what would have taken place in the last 40 days, but all of these rallies, hundreds of people going to people's homes, 200 standing on the outside. While I mean, people aren't going to divulge any personal information to you like that. The crowd is too sick. You know, you're not going to do that. And you need to engage people if you really want people to be a part of this process, Eric. Common sense and intelligence has to be prerequisites for voting and as candidates. Political live debates. I don't care what no one says. We have tried that whole nonsense. Political rallies, people coming out getting drunk. You know, intelligence, they want to be a part of that nonsense, man. You need town hall, small meetings to engage people to address the socio-economic issues relative to the area that you want to represent. That's how you engage. Yeah, you might have refreshments and stuff like that, but people want inclusion. People don't want to be talked down to. People don't want you to be I'm talking nonsense. We have serious issues in this country, Eric. And when you look at the rallies, it's just a big joke. Yes, we want to have rallies. Yes, you need to have that to be a part of it to address your base. But what about the French voter? What about the voter on the outside? What about the voter who is down for it and going through some things? You think the last thing they want, Aaron, is party and music? Yeah. That's the last thing they want. They want real help. Yeah. And until we address this, and they need to feel like their issues are being heard. And political live debate is the way to go. You need to address their social and economic issues. Every community has social and economic challenges. Are they being addressed in these things? And then the PLP just decided to use whatever machinery they had, the government machinery basically, and won the area. And then it speaks to also, Aaron, what type of impact? Because I don't care how you look at it, Aaron. If I've been working there for 15 years, been a part of the area for 15 years, I don't care who you is. You could be Sabas, you could be whatever. You ain't beat me in no 40 days. Not like that. That ain't gonna wait. Maybe some other day, but it ain't gonna be that day. But we don't even know whether the information and the programs that he was running made any serious impact. Yeah. But hopefully we could get some data on this thing, Aaron, so we can see exactly who voted, the first-time voter, who didn't vote, what the demographic, the age demographic, all of this is relative information that we need, but we can't really get it to give a clear conclusion as to exactly what went wrong.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. And to the point you're making there, you want to drive political participation, the stats, the information, right? It feels like you can only get this information if you are part of a party. Like if you ain't a party, what does it matter? The people, it don't matter. What it matter? Your party, you lose it. I'm not even in a party. I want to know more. I want to participate more. I want to get involved more. I'm wondering if maybe one of the barriers to political participation is that voting citizens don't choose prime ministers. Stalwart councillors and meritorious councillors and senior members of political parties choose prime ministers, right? What do you call that? Part 6, Bahamas Constitution, Chapter 6, Article 73, 1A. Whenever there shall be occasion for the appointment of a Prime Minister, the Governor General shall appoint as Prime Minister A, the member of the House of Assembly who is the leader of the party, which commands the support of the majority of the members of that House. Texter about the West Bay Street, Cable Beach parking situation. I'm going to note that and share it at another time. I got to read this one Producer Aaron, you are very naive in the world of serious politics. I learned from the Chicchanis a long time ago in basic politics that the low voter turnout is a great strategy that works worldwide in democratic countries with low voter turnout. All you have to do is implement voter suppression by making it undesirable to go and vote because you don't like a political party or candidate, so that the other parties' voters and independent voters don't vote or show up to the polls. And all you have to do is increase your voting base of support to go to the polls and vote by providing your supporters with transportation, promises of employment, or gifts. Also, gerrymandering constituencies works in politics. Text, I mentioned that. Come on, man, you try to use my Chicchanis against me. It's them who tell me. When I say, yeah, some parties benefit from low voter turnout. You guys call, I'm sorry, we're all out of time. Stay tuned. Zhivago Lang is up next at 12 o'clock hour. Thank you, producer. Thank you, callers and texters. Thank you, Teen Challenge Bahamas. Have a great day.